Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are looking at this book On the Way to Krishna, chapter 3, Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. First chapter, Srila Prabhupada speak about the essence of happiness. Second chapter, Srila Prabhupada told us that how we can come closer to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, cleaning the dust from the mind, right? And third chapter, another step forward. So first is knowing the real happiness, that is Krishna consciousness. Second is practicing it by clearing the dust, the contamination from our hearts by chanting Hare Krishna. What is the effect of that? Third chapter. We are able to see Krishna everywhere and always. Very easily. It's not a difficult thing. So Prabhupada begins to explain. In our practical life, Krishna instructs us how to invoke Krishna consciousness. It is not that we are to stop executing our duty or cease from activity. So many times people think that bhakti life or spiritual life means I have to give up something. It's not give up something. It's not stop something. We have not given up anything, isn't it? Anyways, we came in this world with nothing. What is there to give up? Rather, Prabhupada continues, activities have to be conducted in Krishna consciousness. How is that? Everyone has a vocation. That means everyone has a job, has a work, has an inclination for activity. Everyone has a vocation in life. But with what consciousness does he enter upon it? Everyone is thinking, oh, I must have a vocation, a work, a job in order to maintain my family. Society, the government, or the family have to be satisfied, and no one is free from such consciousness. So generally the thought when we want to do work is, I need to do it because I need to maintain myself. I need to maintain my family. I need to maintain my society. But Prabhupada explains, one has to be in proper consciousness to execute any activity nicely. One or he whose consciousness is agitated, who is like a madman, cannot execute any duty. We should execute our duty properly, but we should do it thinking to satisfy Krishna. So here Prabhupada gives the real consciousness. The real consciousness in all my activities is not for self-preservation or society preservation or family preservation, but to satisfy Krishna. Then Prabhupada explains, it is not that we have to change our process of work, but we have to understand from whom we are working. It's a very nice line. Don't change your profession. Don't change what you're doing, but understand for whom we are actually doing it for. Whatever activity we have to do, we must execute, but we should not be carried away by kama, desire. The Sanskrit word for kama is used to indicate lust, desire, or sense satisfaction. Sri Krishna instructs that we should not work for the satisfaction of kama or our own lust, right? So sometimes when we work, we are thinking that I want to do it for myself. That is kama. I want to do it for my family. That is also a kama. Why? Because they are your family. You're thinking they are your family. So it's selfish. I want to do it for my country, my nation, my people. It is in one sense a different method of just the same lust. The whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita is based on this principle. Work for the satisfaction of Krishna, not for the satisfaction of one's own senses. So speaking about karma, in Bhagavad Gita 3.37, Krishna speaks how this karma is a very dangerous principle, this desire or lust. So this is a famous verse 3.37. Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esho Rajoguna Samudbhava. This lust and anger, all this comes about because of Rajogun, passion. Mahasano, Mahaasana. Mahaashana means one who, the great devourer. Mahapapma, very sinful. Vidhi enam iha vairinam. In this world, it is the greatest enemy. Lust is that all-devouring, greatest cause of sin and the most biggest enemy in this world. Like that he mentions. Another verse then he says, few verses down, that is 3.37. Next is 3.43. Krishna says about lust. Evam buddhe param buddhva. Samstabi atmanam atmana. So, evam buddhe param buddhva. Use a higher intelligence and samstabi atmanam. Try to balance your atmana, your emotions. Okay, use a superior intelligence. Try to balance your heart. Try to balance your emotions. Jahi Shatrum Mahabaho, a great armed Arjuna Mahabaho, Jahi Shatrum, you can conquer this enemy of lust. Kama Rupam Durasadam, this form of lust which is very difficult, but you will overcome if you lend to higher intelligence. And Prabhupada explains what is his higher intelligence. He says spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness. So if one becomes Krishna conscious, that is giving in to what Krishna wants us to do, one can overcome this lust. Okay, now let us go back. Next paragraph, Prabhupada continues. Arjuna wanted to satisfy his senses by refraining from fighting with his relatives. So Arjuna did not want to fight the war, but it was not on a ground of something. He just wanted to do it because he said, I don't want to kill my people. I don't want to kill my people. But Krishna spoke to him to convince him to execute his duty for the satisfaction of Supreme. Why you're saying I and mine? I am telling you this is what you should do. Do it because this is what God has asked you to do. Materially, it may seem very pious that he is giving up his claim for a kingdom and refusing to kill his relatives, isn't it? People always say, wow, Arjun gave up the kingdom and you don't want to. He's a very peaceful guy. But Krishna did not approve of this because the principle of Arjuna's decision, the prime prima facie, the prime case of Arjuna's principle was to satisfy his own senses. He was doing it because he felt that that is what is best for him. See how selfish that is, right? So they say, no, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is dharma? Dharmam is sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever the Lord does, that becomes dharma. So if tomorrow in the Vedas it's written that everyone should smoke, that is dharma. That is what God has said, smoking becomes dharma. Okay, of course, I'm just giving an extreme example. But dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Lord sets forth what is dharmam and what is adharma. So before we argue this is right, this is wrong, first we have to always see what satisfies Krishna. One's business or occupation need not to be changed, Prabhupada says again, as Arjuna was not changed. But one does have to change his consciousness. So Arjuna remained a householder, Arjuna remained a military man, Kshatriya. In order to change this consciousness, however, knowledge is required. Okay, the change of consciousness from I consciousness, my consciousness to Krishna consciousness, knowledge is required. All of us became devotees somehow or other in this Krishna conscious movement because we got knowledge about the reality of life, the reality of who I am, the reality of God, right? That knowledge is knowing I am part and parcel of Krishna, the superior energy of Krishna. That is real knowledge. Relative knowledge may teach us how to repair a machine, but real knowledge is knowing our position as being integral with Krishna. The nice line Prabhupada says. In this world, we learn a lot of relative knowledge, right? Like we study. So many people ask me, you did engineering. Why did you give up engineering? I said, I'm doing spiritual engineering now. So that is a relative knowledge. You get some skills, this and that. But the real knowledge is to understand who we really are and act on it. Being part of Him, our pleasure, which is partial, is dependent on the whole. So because we are part of Lord, right? Our pleasure is also part. We are part of the whole. So being a part, pleasure is also part, and it's dependent on the whole. Prabhupada gives a very nice example here. For instance, my hand can take pleasure when it's attached to my body and serves it. Hand is part of the whole body. The hand also enjoys when it's attached to the body. It does not take pleasure in serving another's body. Right? It belongs to this body, it serves this body. So because we are part of Krishna, we are attached to Krishna, our pleasure is in serving him. Someone may say, I cannot be happy serving you. Everyone is thinking, I can be happy only serving myself. Isn't it? Everyone wants this. Sometimes we say, you're given a choice, if you have to choose an assistant or choose a servant, many people would like someone exactly like themselves. Because only we can serve ourselves best, isn't it? But no one knows who the self is. I want to serve myself. I am doing it for me. I'm doing it for myself. But who is that self? That self is Krishna, right? Because we belong to the whole. A very nice example. If you cut a finger from the arm, from the hand, the finger becomes useless. If it's thrown away immediately. As long as the finger is attached to the body, there is value. Similarly, as long as we are attached to Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, we have value. Else, if we are detached from Krishna, we shrivel and die away, useless, no value, literally. Prabhupada says, Mama ivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanah manafsastani indriyani prakriti karshati. So, mana shashtani indriyani. He says that with the mind and the senses, we are karshati, we are karshan, we are actually struggling. But ultimately, mama ivamsha jivaloke, we are all nothing but an amsha of the Supreme Lord. The jivas or living entities are now detached from the whole due to material contact. It is therefore necessary for us to strive to attach ourselves again through the latent Krishna consciousness that is within us. So, for those of you who have studied thermodynamics, there is a latent energy, right? Potent is something active, and latent is something which is there, but it is little, how you say, sleeping in a sense. So the Krishna conscious within us is also sleeping, right? We have to again strive to attach ourselves, look back and develop that. Artificially, we are trying to forget Krishna and live independently. Sometimes people say, no, I'm struggling to be Krishna consciousness. Actually, we are all the time trying to forget Krishna. Right? Remembering Krishna is actually natural. But we are actually striving and forgetting Krishna in n number of ways, getting ourselves distracted from so many things. We are trying to forget Krishna and live independently, but that is not possible. When we strive to live independent of Krishna, we come under the influence of the laws of material nature. When you try to be independent of Krishna, we come under Maya. If one thinks that he is independent of Krishna, he becomes dependent on the illusionary energy of Krishna. Nice example. Just as if one thinks that he is independent of the government. Sometimes people think like that, no, I don't listen to government, I do what I want. He thinks I am independent of the government and its regulations. Automatically, he becomes dependent on the police force. He has to always be scared when the police is coming, when the police is going to catch me. Isn't it? Thieves and rogues and terrorists, they want to be independent of the government, but they become dependent on the police force. So Krishna is like government and police force is like Maya. Everyone is trying to become independent, and this is called Maya, illusion. Individually, communally, socially, nationally, universally, it is not possible to become independent. When we come to realize that we are dependent, we will have attained knowledge. Today, so many people are striving for peace in the world, but they do not know how to implement that peace formula. So when Prabhupada writes this always, there's a famous verse that he likes to quote about peace formula. Okay. So Prabhupada here, this is a famous verse, the end of 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So he says, peace means 3 things. If you know 3 things, you have peace in life. Bhoktaram yagya tapasham. That Krishna is the ultimate bhokta. He is the ultimate enjoyer, beneficiary of all offerings. Any sacrifices, any activity, Krishna is the ultimate goal. Bhoktaram yagya tapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram. Second, he is the Maha Ishwar, the Supreme Lord of all worlds. Sukritam sarva bhutanam. He is the real well-wisher for all living beings. Ultimately, if you want to wish well for others, you need to connect them to Krishna. Because Krishna is the real Sukrit. How much can we do for others? We can't. Connect people to Krishna. Krishna is the one who gives the love and attention and care and nourishment. Right? If one knows this thing, that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is the supreme controller, and Krishna is the supreme owner of everything. Bhoktaram yagya tapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram sukritam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mrichati. You will get peace in this world. This is called the peace formula. Prabhupada calls this. This is the CEO mentality, right? Controller, enjoyer, and owner. All 3 are only Krishna. Prabhupada writes, the United Nations have been striving for peace for so many years, but still war is going on. We see in the world today, one country after another, war is so much going on. Then Prabhupada quotes, Yat chapi sarva bhutanam bijam tat aham arjuna natat asti vina yat syan maya bhutam chara charam. Krishna says that in this world, nothing, chara or achara, moving or non-moving, can exist without me. Krishna is the bijam of the whole universe. Right? Krishna is the seed, the foundation of this entire world. Prabhupada says, Krishna is the proprietor of everything, the ultimate, that means he's the owner, the ultimate beneficiary, he's the real enjoyer, and he is the receiver of the results of everything. He's the controller ultimately. We may consider ourselves to be the proprietor of the fruits of our labor. We may say we are the boss, but this is a misconception. We must come to an understand that Krishna is the ultimate proprietor of the fruits of all our works. Hundreds of people may be working in an office, but they understand whatever profit the business makes belongs to the proprietor, the owner. Isn't it? So many people are working very hard. Yes, our company, but is it your company? If the boss, the guy is getting all the money, and he may hand down something to you as gratitude. As soon as a teller at the banks as soon as a teller in the bank, right, thinks that, oh, I have so much money. I am the proprietor. Let me take it home with me. Because he or she is sitting in the counter and counting all the money every day. They feel that it is my money. If they think like that, his trouble begins. Prabhupada says, if we think that we can use whatever wealth we have amassed for our own sense gratification, we are acting out of kama, lust. But if we come to understand that everything we have belongs to Kṛṣṇa, we are liberated. We may have the same money in our hands. Same money, you still have the money in your hand, but the consciousness has changed. But as soon as we think that we are the proprietor, we are under the influence of Maya. Okay? So therefore, Krishna consciousness is just changing the consciousness. You still have a house, you still have your money, you still have your family, but the vision has now changed. This house is Krishna's gift to me. Let me share this mercy with everyone. Please come to my home. Please take prasadam. Please become Krishna consciousness. I'm creating a facility for you. All right. I have a car. Let me use it in Krishna service. I have some money. Let me help others to become Krishna conscious. Can I give them prasad? Can I help them? Can I facilitate them? So the consciousness here, this change of consciousness is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila. Atmendriya pritivancha tare bhole na kam. Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. Atmendriya pritivancha tare bhali kam. What do you call someone who is Atmendriya, who's looking only for sense gratification? Kam. Krishnendriya pritivan icha. One who is desiring to please Krishna senses. That is called prem. So lust and love, they look very similar, but they're not, total opposites. Next. One who is situated in the consciousness that everything belongs to Krishna is actually a learned person. So this is the first verse of Ishopanishad, the invocation mantra. So Krishna says here, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. That means everything is owned by God. Isha vasyam idam sarvam. Everything is controlled, vasha, by God. Yat kincha jagatam jagat. Little or small, everything is under him. Tena, yaktena bhunjita. And for you, he has removed a little quota. You can enjoy this much. You can suffer this much. Little thing has removed. Magradha. Don't be greedy for more than that. Kasya swidhanam. You should accept what you have. Don't be greedy for more than that. So basically, this verse is saying that Krishna is the supreme control of everything. Certain things are set aside as our quota. What comes to us naturally, easily, that we should accept. Don't be greedy. Magradha. Don't be greedy for more than your quota. You will suffer. Right? This consciousness of Isha Vashya, everything belongs to Krishna, must be revived. Not only individually, but nationally and universally. Right? Then there will be peace. We often tend to be philanthropic and altruistic. That means we tend to do a lot of social work. And we strive to be friends with our countrymen, our families, and all the people of the world. We're thinking more people-centered, helping the poor, helping our nation, helping out this and that. But this is based on the wrong conception. Why? Because all these people who are doing this work, they are not connecting people to Krishna. No, I also serve in the social sector, social service sector, and I see that many NGOs are there, who the heads of the NGOs are all atheists. So their conception, whether they admit it or not, is like, someone has made this world and someone has left it. Now it's my job to take care of it. Or Someone has made this world and messed up. It is my job to fix it. Right? So it is a wrong conception. The real friend is Krishna. If we want to benefit our family, nation, planet, we will have to work for him, connect them to him, connect them to Krishna. That is the real benefit. If we have our family's welfare in mind, thinking that I will protect them my way, we will try to make all members Krishna conscious, right? If we really care for our family, then make them Krishna consciousness. There are so many men trying to benefit their families, but unfortunately, they do not succeed because they do not know what the real problem is. As the Srimad Bhagavatam says, one should not, is a very heavy verse, huh? One should not become a father, mother, teacher unless he is able to save his children from death, from the grip of material nature. So this is a verse Prahlad Maharaj teaches, 5.5. This is a verse that Bharata Maharaj's father, Rishabdev. This is a verse that Lord Rishabdev teaches to his son, headed by Bharata. So 5.5.18, he says, Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat. Don't become a guru, don't become a relative. Pita na sasyat, don't become a father. Janani na sasyat, don't become a mother. Daivam na tatsyan, don't become someone worshipable. Na patis satsyan, don't become a pati, a husband. Na mochayet yah samupetya mrityum. One who has taken shelter, if you cannot deliver a person from death, right? That means you cannot give them Krishna consciousness, then don't be any of this, because these are positions of responsibility. Real father is one who can give Krishna conscious to his family. Real mother is one who can give Krishna conscious family. Real guru is one who can connect someone to Krishna, right? Real relative is one who encourages and helps someone to be Krishna conscious. The father, proper rights, should be in knowledge of Krishna, and he should be determined that the innocent children who are entrusted to him. Why is it saying innocent children who are entrusted to him? Because no one chooses their children, isn't it? Somehow or other, you may be in the process of giving them a body, which again you have no control over. But what Atma comes in that body? Who knows? You did not select. Did anyone fill up a form? I want this Atma, that Atma, this. No. You may have facilitated giving the body, but still you have no control. So therefore, these children, in one sense, entrusted to us, right, will not have to undergo the cycle of birth and death again. That is a real parent. He should be resolved to train his children in such a way that they will no longer have to be subjected to the painful cycle of birth and death. These are the responsibilities of a leader, a grahasta, someone training others, right? Many times nowadays, people are so lazy. Sometimes parents think that I can't do it. Prabhuji, you come and do it. Right? It doesn't work that way. We should be responsible for whoever is under us, underlings. So children means responsibility. First responsibility is always in the parents' hands. Parents should be able to train. But if parents cannot train, that means they themselves are not trained. That's the biggest problem. But before one can do this, he has to make himself expert. See, if he becomes expert in Krishna consciousness, he can help not only his children, but his society and nation. Therefore, in the earlier days, there were Gurukul system, Brahmacharya system. Everybody, every boy, every male goes and serves the temple, become a brahmachari, get trained nicely, how to read shastras, how to do puja, how to live your life, sense control, simple. Then if they get married, oh, they can train their families also. That means they're successful. But if he himself is bound by ignorance, how can he untie others who are similarly bound? Someone who doesn't know how to swim, trying to save a drowning man. Chaos, isn't it? But one can make others free. He must be free himself. Actually, no one is a free man, for everyone is under the spell of the material nature. But one who is surrendered to Krishna cannot be touched by Maya. He, of all men, is free. If one places himself in sunlight, there is no question of darkness. But if one places himself in artificial light, it may flicker and go out. Sometimes the light may blow also. Krishna is just like sunlight. Where he is present, there is no question of darkness and ignorance. Right? There's a famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoya Andakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikar. Krishna Surya Samam. Krishna is like the sun. Maya hoy andhakar. And Maya is like darkness. Jahan Krishna, where there is Krishna, tahan nahi Maya ra adhikar. There is no influence of Maya wherever there is Krishna. Right? So, like the saying, there's always a famous saying, be conscious of Krishna and be cautious of Maya. The wise men, the Mahatmas, they understand this, that Krishna is the source of everything. So he quotes this verse. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitah. Krishna says that I am the source. Matah sarvam pravartate. Everything is coming from me. Prabhupada writes, in this verse, the word buddha is used, which indicates a wise man or one who is learned. What is his symptom? He knows that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, sarvasya prabhavo, of all emanations. He knows that whatever he sees is but an emanation of Krishna. In the material world, sex life is the most prominent factor. Factually, we see everywhere, everything is revolving around sex life. The whole work industry, buildings, paved roads, malls, food, advertisements, gadgets, everything is just because to facilitate sex life. Every single thing, from big companies to oil and gas companies to hardware companies, software companies, everything is based on this. Sexual attraction is found in all species of life. And one may ask, where does it come from? This is the most prominent thing in this world. Huh? Basically, it's what making the world go round, so-called. Where does it come from? The wise man understands that this tendency is in Krishna also, and that it is revealed in his relationships with the damsel of Braja, right? That Madhurya Rasa. Whatever is found in the material world can also be found in the imperfection in Krishna. The difference is that in the material world, everything is manifested in a perverted form, in a dirty form. In Krishna, all of these tendencies and manifestation exists in pure consciousness, in spirit. So Krishna doing Ras Leela, it was not a display of some gross activity. It was just dance. Dance of a 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy with other 6, 7-year-old girls, maybe slightly elder, dancing, feeling the most highest emotions of selflessness in wanting to please, right? With their dancing, with their smiling, with their embrace, and so on and so forth. There was no any gross or grotesque, taint in this dance. That is actually the Ras Leela. One who knows this in full knowledge becomes a pure devotee of Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes these 2 verses. This comes from the 9th chapter. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritah. Who is a Mahatma? Who is a great soul? Who has taken shelter of the Daivi Prakriti. That means Radharani, isn't it? The Lord's internal potency. Bhajantyananya manaso nyatva bhutadim avyayam. Okay, with ananya manasa, with unwavering mind, worship the Supreme Lord. Satatam kirtayanto mam, always chanting my glories. Yatantascha drida endeavoring with great faith and determination. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya, always paying obeisance, bowing before Krishna. Nitya yukta upasate, 24 hours their brain is thinking how and how to serve Krishna. These are the Mahatmas. This is what the Mahatma means. Prabhupada explains, who is a great soul or Mahatma? It is he who is under the influence of the superior energy, Daivim Prakriti. At present, we are under the influence of Krishna's inferior energy. As living entities, our positional is marginal. We can transfer ourselves to either these 2 energies. Prabhupada always gives this example. The jiva is like a man sitting on a chair. When you sit on the chair with armrests, you either lean towards one side or you lean towards the other side. Very difficult for you to sit comfortably on both. Generally, people always sit like on one side or sit on the other side. Similarly, one side you're sitting on Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna, or one side you're sheltering on Maya. You cannot do half-half. That means you have no shelter, right? So because we are marginal, we can either shift here or shift there, depending on our inclination. Krishna is fully independent, and because we are part and parcel of him, we also have this quality of independence, right? I can choose here or I can choose here. Therefore, we have a choice as to which energy we will function under. Because we are ignorant of the superior nature, We have no alternative but to remain in the inferior nature. We are only stuck to one side because we have no knowledge, no idea that there is even another side. Some philosophies propound that there is no nature other than the one we are presently experiencing, and that the only solution is to nullify it and become void. Some people say there is no afterlife, there is no spiritual world, there is nothing. This life, just nullify it, destroy everything, and become void. But we cannot become void because we are living entities. We are actually living, moving, thinking, feeling beings. How can you become shunyam? Zero. It does not mean that we are finished just because we change our bodies. Before we can get before we can get out from the influence of the material nature, we have to understand where our place is, where we are to go. I just was walking down just now, and there was a bus parked in our eco village. On the bus, at the side of the bus, it's written, I do not know where I'm going, but I am moving. So the bus is, you know, so people, I found it quite funny, People do not know where they're going, but still I'm going somewhere. So like that, we do not know where we're going. We have to know. Huh? If we do not know where to go, then we'll simply say, oh, we do not know what is superior and what is inferior. All we know is this. So let us stay here and rot. I do not know anything better. I do not know anything else. So let me stay here and rot. The Bhagavad Gita, however, gives us information of the superior energy, the supreme nature, isn't it? So, like the Lord says, in Bhagavad Gita also, I have a superior nature than this. Aparyam midastvanyam. I have a superior nature than this. I have a spiritual world. Yat gatva na nivardante. Right? There's no need for sun. There's no need for moon. There's a supreme nature. What Krishna speaks, he speaks for all eternity. It does not change. It does not matter what our present occupation is or what Arjuna's occupation was. We only have to change our consciousness. Prabhupada's coming back. Don't think that what is written Bhagavad Gita does not matter now. No, it's eternal time immemorial. We do not have to change what we have, but dovetail, connect it, change the consciousness, seeing that everything good that I have in life is a gift of God. Because it's a gift, it's my duty to share with others. At present, we are guided by the consciousness of self-interest. I like this line. Huh? Please pay attention to this. At present, we are guided by the consciousness of self-interest, but we do not know what our real self-interest is. Nate vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. This is actually Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. Nate vidhu, they do not know. Swartha, swart means selfishness. Swartha. They do not know what their real selfishness is because people do not know what is self. We do not know what our real self-interest is. Actually, we do not have self-interest, but sense-interest. So what we think, no, this is my own self-interest. Not self-interest, sense-interest. You are thinking the self to be this body. You're thinking to terms of this body. Because the real self is, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Okay, so it's not, like Prabhupada says, it's not self-interest, it is sense-interest. Whatever we are doing to satisfy the senses. It is this consciousness that has to be changed. In its place, we must implant our real self-interest, which is Kṛṣna consciousness. How this is done? How is it possible to become Kṛṣna conscious in every step of our life? Actually, Krishna makes it very easy. So he quotes this verse. Rasaham apsu kaunteya. Krishna says, I am the taste in water. Prabhasmi shashi suryayoho. I am the illumination of the sun and the moon. Pranava sarva vedeshu. Whatever you chant, that pranava, that om, omkara, that is me. Shabda ke, the sound that you're hearing around you, because air is carrying it. I am that sound. I am carried. Paurusham Nirshu. You see anybody has ability, great prowess, someone is famous, someone is powerful. It's me. I'm the person who's making it happen. In this verse, Sri Krishna is describing how we can become fully Krishna conscious in all stages of life. All living entities must drink water. The taste of water is so nice. When we are thirsty, nothing but water seems to do. No manufacturer can create the pure taste of water. We thus can remember Krishna or God when we drink water. No one can avoid drinking water every day of his life. So God is there. How can we forget? Now, Brahmasri Ashram, in the water drinking area, the pantry, where we fill our waters and drink, there's a big sign there written, Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. Remember when you're drinking water, oh, That quenching feeling that if this is also Krishna, how satisfying is Krishna, how wonderful is Krishna. Similarly, when there is some illumination, that is also Krishna. Original effulgence in the spiritual sky, the Brahma Jyoti emanates from the body of Krishna. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagat anda koti koteshu asheshu vasudadi vibhuddhi binnam. Right? Brahmaji is saying in the prayers that all the prabha in this world, in Brahma Samhita, is coming from Krishna's body. This material sky is covered. The very nature of the material universe is darkness, which we experience at night. It is being artificially illuminated by the sun, by the reflected light of the moon, and by electricity. Where is this illumination coming from ultimately? The sun is being illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti, with the bright effulgence of the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no need for sun, moon, or electricity, because there everything is illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti. On this earth, however, we can remember Krishna whenever we see some illumination from the sun, right? So sun is known as to be like the eyes of God. You'll find this in many cultures in the world, right? From the ancient cultures, many of them believe the eye of Horus, for example, Amun-Ra, who was like in Egyptian culture, in Mayan culture. In Malaysia, the local Malay language, they call sun as Mata Hari, the eye of God, eye of Hari, the eye of the day, like that. When we chant the Vedic mantras, which begin with Om, we also can remember Krishna. Om, like Hare Krishna, is also an address to God. Om is also Krishna, right? Om is the impersonal manifestation of that Supreme Lord. Shabda means sound. And whenever we hear any sound, we should know that it's the vibration of the original sound, the pure spiritual sound. Om. Every sound originates from Om. Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhupada says. Whatever sound we hear in the material world is but a reflection of that original spiritual sound. Om. In this way, when we hear sound, when we drink water, when we see some illumination, we can remember God. If we can do this, then we will not remember God. It is the process of Krishna consciousness. In this way, we can remember Krishna 24 hours a day. And in this way, Krishna is with us. So when Srila Prabhupada used to travel around and preach and see many places and go on morning walks, he was always Krishna conscious. When he saw a pebble on the sand, when he see a rock, when he saw garbage, whatever Prabhupada saw, Prabhupada always saw it in terms of Krishna consciousness. So we should train our minds also in such a way it always be Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna is always with us. But as soon as we remember this, his presence is factual and it's felt. There are 9 different processes of associating with God. Right? This is called the Navavida Bhakti. 9 types of devotional services. The first method of association is Shravanam, hearing. By reading the Bhagavad Gita, we hear the speeches of Sri Krishna, which means that we are actually associating with Krishna and God. So today we are having all this reading session like we're doing online. It is not just me and you, it is actually both of us coming closer to Krishna. Prabhupada writes in brackets, we should always remember that when we speak of Krishna, we refer to God. Just in case someone starts thinking it's somebody else. Inasmuch as we associate with God and as we go on hearing the words of Krishna and his names, the contamination of material nature is reduced. In understanding that Krishna is sound, illumination, water, and so many other things, it becomes impossible to avoid Krishna. If we can remember Krishna in this way, our association with him is permanent. Because everything in this world has these things, you cannot avoid it. Association with Krishna is like association with sunshine. Where there is sunshine, there is no contamination. We saw that verse, no? As long as one is out in the ultraviolet rays of the sun, he will not be diseased. Prabhupada now gives another link with Ayurveda. In Western medicine, sunshine is recommended for all kinds of disease. And according to the Vedas, a diseased man should worship the sun for cure. Very similar. So in the Western countries, because there's a lack of sunshine, sometimes the doctors say that you need to go out and get some sun or go for a walk on the beach or, get sunbathing, which helps actually, the body, melanins and all this, whatever gets created. Similarly, if we associate with Krishna in Krishna consciousness, our maladies, our diseases are cured because Krishna is like sun. By chanting Hare Krishna, we can associate with Krishna and we can see the water as Krishna, the sun, the moon as Krishna. We can hear Krishna in the sound and taste him in water. So chanting Hare Krishna is mean our practice. Always Krishna, 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 Krishna. So that wherever we see, whatever we do will always be Krishna, Krishna. If not, it will be me, me. Unfortunately, in our present condition, we have forgotten Krishna. But now, we have to revive our spiritual life by remembering him. This process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting was approved by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Lord Chaitanya was speaking with Ramananda Rai, a friend of the Lord and a great devotee. The Lord questioned him about the method of spiritual realization. Ramananda recommended Varna Ashrama Dharma, Sannyasa, the renunciation of work, and so many other methods. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, 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 no. Not all of these are not so good. Each time Ramananda Rai suggested something, Lord Chaitanya rejected it, requesting a better method of spiritual development. Eho bhaya, aage kaho aar. He says like that. Eho bhaya, aage kaho aar. This is external. This is not important. Say something more. Finally, Ramananda Rai quoted a Vedic aphorism which recommend that one give up all unnecessary endeavor in mental speculation for understanding God. By speculation, it is not possible to arrive to ultimate truth. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva. Give up this speculation. Scientists, for instance, may speculate about distant stars and planets, but they can never come to any conclusion without experience. So sad, no? When we grew up, we studied that Pluto was a planet. And then later they found out that Pluto was just some piece of ice, a subplanet of some other planet, no? Some satellite of some other planet. So they can just make speculations, which can change. One may go on speculating throughout his life and never reach any conclusion. It is especially useless to speculate about God. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that all sorts of speculation should be given up. It is recommended instead that one becomes submissive, realizing that not only is he an insignificant creature, but that this earth is only one small point in the great universe. New York City may seem to be very large, but when one realizes that the earth is such a small spot and that on that earth, the United States is just another small spot, and that in the United States, New York City is but a small spot, and that in New York City, the individual is only one out of millions, then one can understand that he is not so very important after all. Realizing our insignificance in the face of the universe or in God, we should not be artificially puffed up, but should be submissive. Very nice line, right? We cannot understand Krishna conscious or we do not take up to Krishna conscious seriously is because we keep thinking that I am something. There's no humility. There's humility, then we will actually want to take it up. We should be very careful not to fall prey to the frog philosophy. So Prabhupada tells his famous story. Once there was a frog in the well, and upon being informed of the existence of the Atlantic Ocean by a friend, he asked a friend, oh, what is this Atlantic Ocean? It is a vast body of water, his friends replied. How vast? Is it double the size of this well? Oh no, much, much larger, his friend replied. How much larger? 10 times the size? In this way, the frog went on calculating. But what is the possibility of his ever understanding the depths and far reaches of the great ocean? Our faculties, experience, and power of speculation are always limited. We can only give rise to such frog philosophy. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that we give up the method of speculation as a waste of time in trying to understand the Supreme. Don't do guesswork. Maybe like this, maybe like that. I think like this. Definite answers is there in Shastra. After giving up speculation, what should we do? The Bhagavatam recommends that we must become submissive, humble, and hear the message of God submissively with all humility. This message may be also found in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, in the Bible or Quran, in any bona fide scripture. Again, Prabhupada is being, very broad-minded. Or it may be heard from a realized soul. The main point is that one should not speculate, but should simply hear about God. What will be the result of such hearing? Regardless of what one is, whether he is a poor or rich man, an American, a European, an Indian, a Brahmana, a Shudra, whatever, But if one hears the transcendental word of God, the Lord, who can never be conquered by any power or force, he will be conquered by love. Huh? So one cannot conquer Krishna by any power or force, but one can conquer Krishna by love. Arjuna was a friend of Krishna's, but Krishna, although the Supreme Lord, became Arjuna's chariot driver, a menial servant. Arjuna loved Krishna, and Krishna reciprocated his love in this way. Similarly, when Krishna was a child, he playfully took the shoes of his father Nanda Maharaj and put it on his head. People may try very hard to become one with God, but actually, we can surpass that. We can become the father of God. Of course, God is the father of everyone, and he has no father himself, but he accepts his devotee, his lover, as a father. Krishna agrees to be conquered by his devotee out of love. All one has to do is hear the message of the Lord very carefully. 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives additional ways in which we can perceive him in every step. Punyoganda prativyam cha tejas chasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth. You know, when rains just fall, first time the rain fall, that sweet punyoganda of the prithvi, of the earth, smell of the earth, very beautiful. And I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penancer for all aesthetics. The word punyagandha refers to fragrances. Only Krishna can create flowers and fragrance. We may steal the fragrance, make artificial fragrance, but ultimately we cannot take it. No, it comes naturally. We may synthetically create some scent or fragrance, but these are not as good as the originals that occur in nature. When we smell a good natural fragrance, we can think, oh, here is God, here is Krishna. Nowadays, we can manufacture fragrance which lasts very long, but all that chemical sometimes chokes us up also. Or when we see some natural beauty, we can think, oh, here is Krishna. Or when we see something uncommon, powerful, or wonderful, we can think, here is Krishna. This is the last verse of the 10th chapter. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimat urjitam eva va tat tat evavagachatvam mama tejo amsa sambhava. Anything you see that is urjva and great and amazing, it is nothing but Krishna. Or when we see any form of life, whether it be in a tree, in a plant, or an animal, or a human being, we should understand that this life is part and parcel of Krishna. For as soon as the spiritual spark, which is a part and parcel of Krishna, is taken away from the body disintegrates. Bijamam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinam maham. So Krishna says, I am the seed of all existence. I am the intelligence of the intelligence, the power of all powerful. Here again is explicitly stated that Krishna is the life of all that lives. Thus, at every step, we can see God. People may ask, can you show me God? Yes, of course. God can be seen in so many ways. But if one closes his eyes and says, I shall not see God, then how can he be shown? Right? Common logic is there. Flowers blooming, sun is rising, everything is there, beautiful systems, beautiful design. So there must be a God. There's a design, there must be a designer. There's a creation, there must be a creator. There are laws, there must be a lawmaker. In the above verse, the word bija means seed, and that seed is proclaimed to be eternal, sanatanam. One may see a huge tree, but what is the origin of the tree? It is a seed, and that seed is eternal. The seed of existence is within every living entity. The body itself may go through many changes. It may develop within the mother's womb, come out as a small baby, grow through childhood, adulthood. But the seed that is within is permanent. That is, the seed is Atma. Therefore, it is Sanatanam. Imperceptibly, we are changing our bodies at every moment, every second. But the bijam, the seed, the spiritual spark does not change. Krishna proclaims himself to be this eternal seed within all existences. He is also the intelligent of the intelligent person. Without being favored by Krishna, one cannot become extraordinarily intelligent. Everyone is trying to become more intelligent than others. Maybe nowadays through ChatGPT. But without the favor of Krishna, it is not possible. Therefore, whenever we encounter someone with extraordinary intelligence, we should think that intelligence is Krishna. Similarly, the influence of one who is very influential is also Krishna. Someone very powerful, influential, rich, smart, is but Krishna's mercy on them. Some more verses of meditation. Balam balavatam chaham ka ma ragha viparjitam Dharma virudho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. I am the strength of the strong. I am the sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. The elephant and the gorilla are very strong animals, Prabhupada says. But we should understand that they get their strength from Krishna. The human being cannot acquire such strength by his own endeavor. But if Krishna so favors, a man can get strength to exceed the elephant thousands of times. The great warrior Bhima, who fought in the battle of Kurukshetra, was said to have the strength of 10,000 times that of an elephant. Similarly, desire or lust kama that is not against religious principles should be seen as Krishna. What is this lust? Lust generally means sex life. But here, kama refers to sex life which is not against religious principles. That is to say, sex for begetting good children. Right? That is dharmic sex life. If one can beget good Krishna conscious children, he can have sex thousands of times. But if he can only beget children who are raised in the consciousness of cats and dogs, children like cats and dogs, his sex life is to be considered irreligious. In religious and civilized societies, marriage is intended as an indication that the couple is to engage in sex for begetting good children. Nowadays, so sad, people get married, but they don't want children, isn't it? Therefore, married life is considered religious, and married sex life is considered religious, and unmarried sex life is considered irreligious. Actually, there is no difference between the sannyasi and the householder, grahastha and a sannyasi, provided that the householder's sexual activities are based on religious principle. If they only unite to have children, right, based on Shastra, then there's no difference. Like Prabhupada says, my brahmachari is brahmachari, my grahastha is brahmachari, my vanaprastha is brahmachari, my sannyasi is brahmachari. Yachaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye mata eveti tanviddan natveham teshu temayi. Okay? All this energy, everything, goodness, passion, ignorance, everything. I am independent of all this, Krishna is saying. One may question Krishna in this way. You said you are sound, water, illumination, fragrance, seed, strength, karma. Does that mean that you simply exist in the mode of goodness? In the material world, there are the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus far, Krishna has described himself as that which is good. For instance, sex in marriage. He's telling, I'm this, I'm that. All the good things he's saying. That means, are you goodness? But what about other modes? Does Krishna not exist in them? In the answer, Krishna replies that whatever is seen in the material world is due to an interaction of the three modes. Whatever can be observed is a combination of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And in all cases, these three states are produced by me. That's the shloka we just saw. Because they are produced by Krishna, their position is in him, but he is not in them. For Krishna himself is transcendental to the three modes. Thus, in another sense, bad and evil things which are product out of ignorance are also Krishna when they are applied by Krishna. How is that? For example, an electrical engineer is producing electrical energy. In our homes, we are experiencing this electrical energy as coldness in the refrigerator or heat in the electrical stove. But at the power plant, electrical energy is neither cold nor hot. The manifestations of this energy may be different for the living entities, but for Krishna, they are non-different. So from Krishna's point of view, there is no good or bad. Dvaita, Bhadra, Abhadra, like that one sloka comes, is saying that which is bhalo, which is mando, which is good, which is bad, they're all sabha manodharma. Right? Dvaita, Bhadra, Bhadra, Jnana, sarva manodharma. You think something is good, something is bad. Krishna's point of view, everything is same, right? Material is just matter to him. But for Krishna, they are non-different. Therefore, Krishna sometimes acts on what may be principles of passion or ignorance. But for Krishna, there is nothing but Krishna. Just as for the electrical engineer, electric energy is simply electricity, nothing else. He makes no distinction that this is cold electricity or this is hot electricity. Everyone is being generated by Krishna. Indeed, the Vedanta Sutra confirms. Athato Brahma Jigyasa Janmadi Asya Yataha. Everything is flowing from the Supreme Absolute Truth. What the living entity is considered to be bad or good is only so for the living entity. From our minute perspective, we are thinking this good and bad, for he is conditioned. But because Krishna is not conditioned, for him, there is no question of bad or good, right? Like sometimes we see death. Death is what? Bad, right? But for Krishna, death, born, no difference. You're born again, dying again. Body is happening. Soul is eternal. So Krishna doesn't see a difference in this. We perceive difference. Because we are conditioned, we are suffering from dualities, right? Dvanda. For him, everything is perfect. So in this, we complete the third chapter. Very beautiful meditations on how to see Krishna everywhere, always. So many beautiful verses. So you can share on the group your favorite lines. You can copy paste them or something like that. And one more homework is that you can practice for the next few days before we reach the next Monday, how you have seen Krishna and everything. You may see Krishna in every place, right? So how you see Krishna, you can also share that. Thank you all so much. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna.